Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. We've got Saturday, the 24th, is Small Business Saturday and National Sardines Day. Also, the 25th is National Parfait Day, it is Blasé Day, and it is Shopping Reminder Day. So all of that is happening this weekend. I got a couple quotes for you, too. Saturday's quote from Joel Spolsky, "Nothing works better than just improving your product." And then the Sunday quote is from Zig Ziglar. I love Zig Ziglar. And he says, "The real opportunity for success lies within the person and not the job." I love that. Also got a great interview coming up later in the program. Beth Porter, she has a new book called Replace, Reuse, and Reimagine. We're going to talk about recycling the right way. All of that and much, much more on this weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix, TIX.org.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, but first, take a listen to this. New study found that anxiety symptoms will improve after just one meditation session. So they're saying you don't need medication, you need meditation. What do you think of that?
I've never meditated, so I have no idea.
Nor have I, but we'll have to try it. Next time you have anxiety, they say instead of, popping a pill that you could get addicted to, they're saying, pop into a little meditation instead. It's a neat idea. I've got a link to that story if you want to read all about it in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. TimeForRehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. TimeForRehab.com. That's TimeForRehab.com. And this is your brain on drugs. Police say a female wedding crasher was arrested after barging onto the dance floor at a Lions Club in Florida. The bride and groom were having their last dance, and 46-year-old Christine Chandler slipped into the Treasure Island venue at about 10 p.m. The uninvited Chandler, who lived across the street from the club, entered through a gate on the side of the building. Once she was there, she proceeded to the dance floor. And it says here, many people were asking her to leave, but she guided her way toward the exit, and then she returned and entered right onto the dance floor. It was filled with wedding guests, and she again was escorted to the exit. Police say that she was belligerent and caused a scene, charged with disorderly conduct, a misdemeanor. She was released from jail after posting a $150 bond. On her rap sheet, there are a lot of things for battery, theft, trespass, disorderly conduct, and disorderly intoxication.
Well, then.
You might want to maybe consider not drinking anymore. Just a thought. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen for this weekend. Hugh Jackman says he didn't know that Wolverines were real animals. When he was doing research to play Wolverine in the X-Men movies, he discovered that and said, oh, that's a real thing? So he didn't know it was a real thing. He thought that was just like a made-up thing. But no, Hugh Jackman, it's a real thing. Jennifer Lopez. Now, I haven't had a J-Lo story in years.
No.
She's been in the news like 3 times in the last couple of weeks. Now she's in the news for letting her thong hang out on the set of her new video. So there you go.
Whatever.
If everybody who has their underwear showing
gosh.
makes it into the news, there's going to be a whole lot of news. I see underwear all over the place. I'm not saying I like it. It's not good. I just see it. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel lost $1 million on the sale of their Manhattan penthouse. That's a lot of dough to lose. So I don't know how much they sold it for, but $1 million less than what they paid for it. And 2 1/2 Men actor Jon Cryer, also known as Ducky, for those of you from the 80s.
I love Jon Cryer.
He's been cast as the new Lex Luthor for the Supergirl series.
Yeah, for TV.
Do you think he'll be a good super...
I do. I think he'll be a really good Lex Luthor. I think he would for a TV series. I think... my son and I actually had this conversation, and we both agreed that...
He's my son, too.
A movie would be a different story, but I think he'd be a great TV Lex Luthor.
I'm not sure what that means.
I mean, there's just a different caliber of requirements in a movie than there is on television.
John Cryer fans, her name is Heidi, Heidi.
I love John Cryer. I love John Cryer. I just don't think he would be a movie villain. I think he could be a TV villain, though.
He was actually in Superman back in the 80s.
Yeah, I know he was. He was the kid. He was Lex Luthor's kid.
Nephew or whatever. All right, thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now your scoop of the day brought to you by FreshPatch.com. Promo code Radio. Consumer Protection Group named the Black Panther /Claw as the most dangerous holiday toy of the year. It doesn't even sound like it would be a safe thing.
No.
The Black Panther /Claw is what it's called.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound safe. I've got a link to this story if you want to read why it's dangerous and all of that. Police in Santa Ana, California are looking for a woman who choked a McDonald's manager because they were out of ketchup. I think that is crazy. This is not the first time we've read a story like this.
People are losing their minds.
I know. Over silly things.
Over everything ridiculous.
You're all out of ketchup? You got to be kidding me. Get over here. I'm going to choke you. That's not quite the right response. A West Virginia town is being plagued by a mob of drunk raccoons who got plastered eating crab apples that had fallen from a tree. So the crab apples fermented, and now the raccoons are all hopped up on crab apples. So that happened in West Virginia. Heidi is reading right now. How do I plant a crab apple tree?
I would love to see that.
Actually, it would be kind of funny to see. IRS could examine the finances of the British royals now because of Meghan Markle. She is still a U.S. citizen, and she owes taxes on the income she receives with Prince Harry. So she could actually be audited, and they could go through the British royals' finances if they wanted to. Couldn't she just no longer be a citizen? Say, I'm going to be a citizen of the country that I'm, a royalty of.
Yeah, she can give up her
citizenship. Isn't she actually from Canada? So she's Canadian who became a U.S. citizen who is now.
I don't know if she's Canadian. I think never heard that.
I'm almost positive. All right. Anyway, the IRS could examine the finances of the British royals.
Royals may insist. They may just say, you need to give up your citizenship because we're not letting that happen.
After Thanksgiving, they had to weigh her, which, again, isn't that crazy? It wasn't Thanksgiving. They have a different...
So weird.
What do they call their...
They don't celebrate Thanksgiving very often in England.
They're not so thankful. It's kind of an American thing. So. But they have a big feast of some sort, and then they make... It's a tradition. I'm doing air quotes here. They make everybody, they weigh them before the meal, and then they weigh them after the meal to make sure that they were well fed. I think that is such
bizarre.
a bizarre. We should do that here when we have people over.
I would not want to be royalty.
Welcome to the party. Hop on the scale. We have a log here. We're going to just...
we're going to do this before the meal.
It's going to make sure.
And after the meal.
Just want to make sure that you get well fed. And then one last story. I'm going to save a minute for this one because this is such a bizarre story. Justin Bieber and his California neighbor finally reached an undisclosed financial settlement for a 2013 incident. This was the thing where Bieber egged his neighbor's house. The man and his wife sued for emotional distress over his behavior.
Oh, good Lord.
So this is when Justin Bieber was drunk and naked and throwing eggs at the neighbor's house. And they finally reached an undisclosed financial settlement. I wonder how much that would be. They were suing for a lot. I wonder what the settlement was. Because, at the end of the day, there was some damage done to their home from the eggs, but it wasn't millions of dollars.
No.
They were suing for the emotional distress.
Yeah, of course they were, because he had the money.
Well, and how do you put a price on emotional distress? I don't know how you do that. But interesting story. I've got a link to it if you want to read all about it. I just think it's a very bizarre thing. And, again, he's another one that hasn't been in the news in a while. We talked about him a couple times in the last week as well. So apparently it's a good day to get your 15 minutes of fame back. Apparently. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
Are you trying to find the perfect gift for someone with a good sense of humor? FunkyMonkeyShirts.com has a good selection of funny t-shirts and more, some with Christmas themes. one that even replaces the ugly Christmas sweater for your next party. Find some silly shirts at funkymonkeyshirts.com. Also, learn how you can sell your own designs to make some extra Christmas cash. There's a link at the bottom of the page at funkymonkeyshirts.com. funkymonkeyshirts.com. That's funkymonkeyshirts.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We have a special guest joining us today. We're going to talk about a really important topic. We're going to talk about recycling, and Beth Porter has literally written the book on the subject. She's got the book Reduce, Reuse, Reimagine, Sorting Out the Recycling System. Beth, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, John.
Absolutely. Now, this book just recently came out, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Actually, it's just rolling out this week, which is very exciting.
Now, what was it that made you decide that this was a book that was needed right now?
Well, I think that over the years, many people have heard reduce, reuse, recycle so many times that perhaps the power has lost its meaning in this phrase. But when we practice it as a hierarchy, this phrase is really a way to fundamentally transform how we use resources and dispose of our waste. And I wrote the book to help people understand how our recycling system currently works and what all the problems with it are right now that are keeping us from greater environmental and economic benefits. So I wanted to help folks understand ways that we can improve, reduce, reuse, recycle in our own lives, but also our communities and throughout the whole country.
And this is one of those things where there's, a lot of gray area. People think they know, but they don't necessarily know, right?
Absolutely, yes. And we are seeing some harsh effects of that, actually. That confusion does come at a cost, unfortunately. We're seeing increases in contamination, which is when we put something in the recycling bin that's not supposed to be there. Sometimes people even put things like dirty diapers, hypodermic needles, garden hoses, all sorts of stuff that they think might be recyclable, but unfortunately goes on to actually harm our actual recyclable items. And we want to curb contamination because we need to keep recyclables at a high enough quality that they want to be, that manufacturers want to use them in their products, because that's where we really see big environmental benefits, is when we're using recycled materials and not needing to mine and extract new materials for production.
Well, it's one of those things where a lot of people think that they're doing the right thing. They're going, I'm going to throw this in the recycling bin. But if it's a pizza box, it's got a bunch of pizza cheese all over it and grease all over it. That's not where it belongs, is it?
That's exactly right, yes. And knowing the local rules is very essential. I think, even myself years ago, before I learned so much about this system, would think, they'll probably figure it out. You think, it's better to recycle something and hope it works out than to not recycle. But if everyone is doing that, that can really cause a lot of contamination and a lot of problems for the folks on the other side of the bin who are having to sort through this stuff by hand and through machines and then figure out how to sell it.
And I was just thinking about this just the other day after I scheduled this interview, and I was thinking, I'm rolling my recycling bin to the curb, and I'm thinking, I sure hope I got this right now. So now that I'm giving it a second thought, I really sure hope I got it right.
Sure. Well, and I always tell people, because sometimes people say, I didn't know you couldn't recycle plastic straws or something, and they feel so guilty about it. And, I say, now you know. And what matters is what you do after you learn. You can't go back in time and change the way we've been recycling, but the best thing to do is learn how to do it better and just make those changes in future habits.
And I think there are a lot of people listening right now that probably want to do the right thing. They want to help. They want to do what's good. And they even thought that they were, but now that they know maybe there's a refresher course on recycling we should take. Again, the book is called Reduce, Reuse, Reimagine, Sorting Out the Recycling System. Our guest right now is Beth Porter. Beth, thank you very much for taking the time to pour your heart into this. I think it's a very worthy cause and a very good thing to do.
Oh, thank you so much. I really hope it helps people understand the system.
And again, the book is available right now. We're going to throw a link to it in our show notes to make it really easy for you to find. It's called Reduce, Reuse, Reimagine, Sorting Out the Recycling System. And again, the author is Beth Porter. We're going to have a link to that in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
If you want to grow your business, you can add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers, or a combination of both. There's no other way to grow your business. Just those two. Add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers. And if you already have a relationship with your customers and you have their email address, you can reach out to them with special offers to easily grow your sales, and you'll make your customers even happier. Let the experts at Constant Contact help. Get a free trial now. Text Radio Trial to number 22828. That's Radio Trial, all one word, to number 22828.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
When you mention the Nile River, most people think of what country?
Egypt.
Egypt. But did you know the Nile is an international river? Its water resources are shared by 11 different countries. The biggest ones are Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, Kinshasa. I've never heard of that one. Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, Sudan, and Egypt. So there you go.
I would love to see Egypt.
Oh, we'll have to go there sometime. This has been another fun fact. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
FreshPatch.com is making dogs like me happy. They send out real grass pads for us to use indoors. Now when it's cold outside, I can go inside. And when I've used up the real grass patch, the mailman brings me a new Fresh Patch. It's the best idea since doggy treats. Convince your mommy to try it today. I suggest you try Puppy Dog Eyes. FreshPatch.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's FreshPatch.com, promo code RADIO.
Time now for the grandiloquent word of the day. It's abstemious. Abstemious. What do you think abstemious is? ABSTMIOUS. Abstemious.
I have no idea.
Marked by restraint, especially in the consumption of food or alcohol. Also reflecting such restraint is abstemious. Sparing or moderate in eating and drinking. Temperate in diet is abstemious. Characterized by abstinence when it comes to food. Abstemious. I wish I would have been a little more abstemious on Thanksgiving. And I will just say that in advance. I wish that I would be more abstemious when, Christmas gets here as well. There you go. Abstemious, today's grandiloquent word.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix.org.
Now some weird news for you on this weekend program. An out-of-control passenger on a Southwest Airlines flight to Newark was arrested for displaying erratic behavior. The unidentified flyer caused a commotion on Flight 864 from Fort Lauderdale. It is unclear exactly what he did, but passengers tweeted the man on the flight tried to exit the aircraft. Then he attacked, it says here in the story, stewardess, but flight attendant. A tweeter wrote, "My recap home. Guy tried to depart plane. Guy attacked stewardess. Guy gets zip-tied, swarmed by police and arrested.
Yikes.
Oh, my plane was delayed." The man's behavior prompted the crew to call local law enforcement, who met the plane and cuffed an unruly passenger. The airline reported that luckily nobody was injured during the incident, so could have been a whole lot worse. That is a very bizarre story. And this is a busy, busy travel time, so if you're traveling, be careful. I just watched a video. I shared it on my Facebook page the other day about how dirty everything is. So
that would explain why we got so sick.
Oh, it was disgusting how they did like swabs on stuff. Oh.
Well, it takes 2 seconds for them to turn a plane around. I mean, everybody gets off, and then the new passengers get back on. They don't clean things.
Don't touch anything, and you're supposed to bring like sanitary wipes. Apparently, I didn't know that. We should have done that. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Time now for the moments of duh. Police say a man was wandering through the Dickerson Park Zoo, and this is in Missouri. This was like a week ago after it closed. Acting odd and refusing to leave, the 37-year-old Joseph Binford was flailing his arms and talking to people who were not there. A zookeeper confronted him, and then he commanded the zoo animals to eat the zookeeper. I think we mentioned that part of this story.
Yeah, we did.
Like a week ago, right, when it happened. There's more details here now. The animals, identified by the zoo spokesperson as cheetahs, ignored the commands of the lunatic. Officers responding to the zoo found him on a grassy hill. In court documents, they say he was screaming unrecognizable statements about God and Lucifer while holding a silver object in each hand. They commanded him to drop the objects, but like the cheetahs, they did not obey his command. Instead, He ran up to one of the officers, hurled the silver objects that were later determined to be dinner forks, and had to be tased. He was trying to grab the officer's gun at the time. What a bizarre story.
Yeah, what a nut.
Yeah, not
Pretty
a smart
sure there was
thing.
drugs involved there.
I don't know. Or mental illness. But either way, that is today's moment of duh.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now some fake news or Florida for you, Heidi. You got to tell me, is this fake news or something that happened in the great state of Florida?
All right.
And I have this one right here. Fake news or Florida? Security guard was fired after uploading videos of his farts to Instagram. Fake news or Florida?
That's hilarious.
What do you think?
I'm going to say fake news.
No, it's a true story. It happened in the great state of Florida, and they are so proud. What a bizarre story. Thank you so much for listening to Fake News or Florida.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of Odiva. That is the monthly subscription service just for the ladies. All of the details at radiosavings.com. I think this is a pretty darn cool story here. I have not been to the play Hamilton. I know there are people that are freaking out about how amazing it is, and there's others that said they've seen it and they're like, well, there's so much hype that it couldn't live up to that. This is a little bit about that, but more about the story leading up to that. Woman praises kind-hearted police officer for helping her get Hamilton tickets in her time of need. I love when we have a positive police officer story. Might sound odd. This family was overjoyed to get a ticket from a police officer in New York City. But it wasn't a parking ticket. He was helping them get tickets for the hit Broadway musical Hamilton. New York Police Department helped an Irish tourist by the name of Geraldine McKenna and her two daughters. They were visiting the Big Apple for the first time in October, and they wanted to see this program. The family wanted to get tickets for 4 days, but the only way to get them was at the box office, and they were $20 short when they got there. No access to debit cards at the box office. The trio quickly became frantic. They were told that if they weren't able to get the money for the tickets within 5 minutes, we're going to have to give them to somebody else. Fortunately, they ran into Officer Ricardo de Candia, and this officer opened his own wallet and handed them his own $20 bill so they could get the tickets. How cool is that?
That's nice.
Says, when a first-time visitor to New York found out she was $20 short for tickets after standing in line for 4 days, she ran for help, and luckily she bumped into this officer. He understood the magnitude of the emergency, pulled $20 of his own money out of his pocket so they didn't have to throw away their spot. I think that's really neat.
4 days. Who stands in line 4 days for tickets to anything?
Don't know. I don't stand in lines, period.
It's ridiculous.
We've gone to restaurants where like, how long is the wait? They're like 20 minutes. I'm like, we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, that is insane.
That might be a bit extreme on my part, but it's a great story, and I've got a link to it in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show.